Good afternoon. It's Gabor Koltai here from Nadlanos Real Estate in Athens. We're here with Avagelus Lawyer, our legal representative here in Athens. Thank you very much for joining us. I just have a couple of questions for you. So let's begin. So first, give us a short introduction about you. Basically a job description, what are some of your services, and some years in business.
Okay, thank you for your time and your questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. I am a lawyer in Athens for 20 years, more than 20 years, and I practice law, especially on commercial, civil law, and real estate law. So, about the real estate agent and how the things work for purchasing an apartment in Athens, the procedure is like this. First of all, you have to make the legal check of the real estate that you want to buy, and this can be done at the registry office. There you can check if there is a legal flaw, as we say, for the apartment or the real estate, as a seizure or mortgage or another legal claim.
Give us a bit more of specifics from purchasing a property from the offer acceptance till after registration, other than once you've done the legal check. What happens after?
After the legal check, and if we find that everything is okay, we can sign a pre-contract for giving a deposit to the owner, and at this contract we can set the price. We can set also the legal options for the deposit. After that, we have to go to the notary. That the notary is responsible for gathering all the necessary papers to make the contract. The lawyer after that is responsible to overseeing the job of the notary and coordinating the owner and the buyer of the apartment, and also the notary. So in order all the necessary papers are gathered. After that, we can set the appointment between the parties, both parties, and sign the contract. Of course, the lawyer has to be there. His presence will be there signing the contract. After signing the contract, it is the transcription of the contract at the registry office and the land registry office. That is also a job for the lawyer.
How long does the process until registration take, and why does it take 2 months or more on average? Give us a bit of a description about the general situation with respect to the registry here in Athens.
Okay, look, Gabor. The problem is that in the Greek law, the buyer, the owner, has to gather many certificates. The most, let's say, difficult about the option of time is the civil engineer certificates. That these certificates confirms that there is no an urban planning violation in the apartment. So, especially in the old apartments, let's say before the 70s, all the permits are gathered in an office, in the urban planning office, that you have to make an application to take them, and so this procedure can take time. Okay. This is why this is the difficulty.
So basically, what we're trying to do is we're reconciling what happened in the past to the situation that is right now in the present. And this is why we sometimes run into some delays.
Yes.
Okay, good. In Israel, typically what happens is the lawyer writes the contract. Here, we've noticed that it's the notary that writes the contract. Why is that? Why does the notary prepare the deed agreement and not the lawyer?
The notary is a public servant, so it is authorized by the Greek state to sign the contract, to prepare the contract, and to set all the legal certificates that is needed for the contract. The lawyer is not out of the situation there. He is overseeing and he is cooperating with the notary for the contract. And of course, he is present when the contract is signed.
Okay, great. Tell me, what are the personal tax rates that generally people are paying when they're dealing with apartments?
With the rents.
Generally, the range, yes.
The range for the rent, if someone has to rent an apartment, is renting the apartment is from €1 to 20,000 to 12,000 euros. The tax is 15%.
Okay.
Over 12,000 euros until 35,000 euros, the tax is 35%. And over the 35,000 euros, the tax is 45%.
Wow. Okay. It's interesting. When does it make sense then for a person to purchase properties as an individual or as a company? Because as I understand it, as a company, you're able to deduct expenses, but as an individual, you're not.
You can deduct some expenses as an individual also, but if you own many apartments, let's say if you're gathering rents over 35,000 euros, so it is more suitable to have a real estate company.
In a purchase, we know that there's the lawyer, we know that there's the notary. What are the other agencies and generally the fees that are also paid during the purchase process?
First of all is the tax. The tax is 3% on the amount that it will be written on the contract, and another 3%, which is the municipality tax on the 3%. Let's say if we have a contract that is 100,000 euros, then the tax it will be 3,090 euros.
Okay.
Also is the notary. The fees for the notary is about 1.2%, including the VAT tax. After is the registry office, that is 4.75 per mile, per mil.
Mil?
Per mil, not percent.
Okay.
4.75.
Okay.
After is the land registry office, that is 35 euros per person. Let's say that if one person buys, so he pays 35 euros. If two persons buy the property, the land registry office is 70 euros, and it goes like that. And the fee, then the lawyer fee is 1% on the amount that will be written on the contract again.
Okay. Explain to me the difference between the purchase price and the objective price.
The objective price is the price that is been written by the tax office. The tax office has his prices on every property and in a zone in Athens. So this is, as we say, the objective price. The purchase price is the real price, is the commercial price, is the price that you agree between the owner and the possible buyer.
What happens in between the period between the deed being signed when you're at the notary and the full registry? Are there instances, and how do you protect against it, where investors or are there instances and how do you protect against it in between that time where, for instance, the seller could possibly sell it to different people at the same time?
This is of course a fraud. I have never been in a situation like that for 20 years that I'm practicing law. So it's something very rare, and you can, of course, you can act from a legal way against the man that did something like that. You can take your money back, of course, and you can charge him for fraud, and maybe he has to be imprisoned also.
So this is something that is very rare.
Very rare. I haven't seen it. The fraud has to be also with the owner, the notary, and everyone like that. So the persons that you are cooperating as the real estate, maybe the owner or especially the notary, has to be people of trust.
Okay. I want to get into talking about a power of attorney. When should a power of attorney be given to you?
When the possible buyer can't be in Athens again in a time period that the contract will be written and will be ready for sign.
And what type of power of attorneys are given? Like signing, like banks?
When you have a power of attorney to buy a property, I think there are two types. It is the special type for the very same apartment that you buy, or a general power of attorney that you can give the power of attorney to the lawyer to buy every property that you agree on your behalf, of course, and on your name. This is the general type of the power of attorney.
Okay. And as an investor, I can choose what type of power of attorney that I can give you.
Of course.
Okay.
But it has also to have terms about taking money from the bank and everything, because otherwise you cannot purchase the apartment. So, but you can easily, sorry Gabor, but you can easily see from watching your bank account if something went wrong, if someone draw money over without excuse.
So as an investor, I don't have to be here to purchase the property?
No.
I can give you the power of attorney.
Yes.
You will take care of it. I know exactly what's happening. It's fully legal, documented.
Yes, of course. It's something very common and very usual.
Okay. I want to talk a bit about tenants as well. Generally, our investors, they're buying properties to fill either for short-term tenants through Airbnb or long-term tenants. I know that you'd be more involved when we're talking about long-term tenants. How long are tenant contracts typically?
Typically, it's 3 years from the law.
Okay.
It's the least period that you can rent your apartment.
Okay, but if I want to, can I make it different periods?
Over the 3 years, yes, of course, you can do it.
Okay. What is an E9 and when is it used?
The E9 is a legal form, is the form from the Greek state that declares your real estate situation in Greece.
Okay. And is this something that the lawyer fills out, or is it something that I fill out myself?
It's something that an accountant has to prepare. But a lawyer can do it also.
Okay. Are the laws in Greece more on the side of the tenant or more on the side of the owner?
I think this is not the situation here. The situation is maybe that the Greek judges and the Greek court is late. This is the problem that we have with the Greek courts. Not that we have laws that protect the owner or the tenant. I think that equal parties. If the tenant does not pay his rent, he's getting out of the apartment.
Okay. Generally, what are we looking at in terms of time if we have a situation like that?
About 3 months.
Okay. From the beginning.
From the beginning,
pay
yes.
Until the
Yes.
tenant has to.
Yes.
And this
From
is,
when you start with the legal action.
okay.
From the first legal action, which is an official paper that goes to the tenant, that you will say to him that if he does not pay, he will get out of the apartment.
Okay. A bit more on the personal side. What advice do you have for our investors when looking for a property to purchase?
First of all is the location, of course, to choose the right location in Athens. And after that, they have to be very careful about checking the legal state of the situation. If he buys an apartment, or if in the case of a building, we have to take the advice of a civil engineer also about the stability of the building.
And also about the market. Where do you see the market right now? Is it stable? Is it rising? Is it decreasing? Is there a demand?
I think the property is very dynamic now. It's going up, it's rising up, and it will go again up like the first period. We have many tourists coming every year and increasing a lot.
Okay. Thank you very much, Avagelus.
Thank you, Gabor.
This
Thank you
is
for your
Gabor
time.
from Avagelus Real Estate. See you in Athens later on, ותודה רבה.